Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today let's go over a medium level question in the database category that I just solved on my own. So I'm really happy about this, and I'm very glad that I was able to come up with my own solution to this question without any assistance. So let me show you how I did it. This question is number 3564, seasonal sales analysis. And what they're asking you to do is to essentially order each season by the top category, and that is determined by the total quantity and then the total revenue, which is the combination of the quantity times the price, and that's for each season. So first, the seasons are given here. So what I did was I went ahead and mapped that. So let's go ahead and just go through each month. So let's say let's create a default dict. Let's call this seasons. Is just going to be a default dict of type list. And seasons of winter is going to be December, January, and February. Seasons of spring, March, April, and May. And seasons summer is going to be June, July, and August. And then last but not least, you have fall. It's going to be September, October, and November. Cool. We're just following what is given here. And now the hard part comes where we have to basically get the quantity and then the price and the total the quantity times the price, the revenue. So notice that product ID is in both tables. So the product ID is going to be associated with a category here. So let's go ahead and say, let's create a dictionary and map the product ID to the category because we're going to need that. And let's go through the products table. ID. Category. Cool. So now let's go through the sales table and calculate the revenue. Let's call that a default dict of type integer, and then also we want the quantity. Cool. So for I, S, and enumerate sales, let's use, first of all, we're concerned with the sale date because the month matters. So first, let's go ahead and get the season that's associated with it, and then the category. So let's call this category first. Let's call this category. We can just go ahead and say is going to be the cat of sales product ID of I. So what we did here, and then also we want the quantity, which is just going to be the quantity for that specific season plus the category. So that's going to be important because what we're going to do is first, let's get the month. So let's call this string. So let's call this month is string s dot split of 0. So let's print month, and that just gives us the actual date itself. But then we have to get this part. So let's just say m is going to be month dot split by this, and then always number 1. Okay, so let's print m. And then let's make it a string because we appended strings to our dictionary here. And then let's go through our seasons. So if this date as a string is inside of seasons of season, then we can know that the current season is associated with the current category, or sorry, quality, quantity, and price. So there's a lot of little bits of information in this question. So I'm going to go a little slower. Seasons of season. And so now we can go ahead and say, so we're going to want the composite of the season and the category. So we want, so the season itself is found, which is just going to be the season. So let's call this, let's make another default dict of type list. And we're going to want the, let's call this season, and then the category. And let's go ahead and append the quantity, which is just going to be, well, first we want, no, that's fine. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and append the quantity. So it's going to be sales quantity of I, and then also the combination of the quantity times the price. So I'm just trying to copy whatever this is right here. Price of I, and then obviously we need to sort. So the season category, well, that's fine. Actually, let's just go ahead and loop over this dictionary. Let's go step by step. Okay, cool. So now you can see that we're going to only want one season, but here the total is going to be 110 and 9 because we actually have to total this up. So let's just actually call this now is d of k. And then the total itself is just going to be another default dict, including only the season and then the category, because these three are going to be sorted, but we have to tally up these for the quantities and all of the revenues as well. So let's call this quantity and revenue for n and now. Q plus equals to n of 0, R plus equals to n of 1. And then we can say total of k of 0, which is just the season itself, going to append the, because there's only one winning category, right, with the quantity and the revenue. So the actual k of 1, and then the quantity, and then the revenue. Cool. So now we're going to want to sort this x of 1, because it says here total quantity, and then if there's a tie, select the category with the total, with the highest total revenue. So that's going to be of x2. Cool. So now let's go ahead and loop through our new dictionary. And then -1 should be the one because we sorted it. So we want the biggest one, right? Okay, cool. So you can see that's exactly what we got. So again, just working with each piece of information using a composite key and sorting by the quantity and then the revenue, which is quantity times price. And cool. So now we basically have our answer. And last but not least, let's call this now. This is a little bit messy. So answer.append the season, and then now of 0, which is the category, now of 1, the total quantity, now of 2, the total revenue. And then we want to sort answer by the season itself in ascending order. Cool. So now we basically have our solution. We can just create an empty data frame. Set season, well, create 4 arrays for 4 columns. Create our data frame, set the 4 columns in order. And then return our data frame. So let's run this. Oh, there's a 4. Run this. submit it. And there you go. Passes all test cases. So again, I'm super glad that I was able to come up with my own solution to this problem without any assistance and solve it completely on my own. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.